What if we told you that the Israel-Palestine conflict, one of the most complex issues of our time, isn't just about land and religion? It's a puzzle with countless pieces, each adding a layer of complexity to a narrative that's been told and retold countless times. It's a tale of culture, identity, and a struggle for legitimacy that transcends borders and generations. It's about more than you might think. Journey with us as we delve into the intricate history of this conflict and explore potential solutions. To understand the current situation, we must travel back to the late 19th century, when the conflict's roots began to take hold. It was a time when the Zionist movement started to emerge, a political ideology that sought to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine. This was a time when the land was under Ottoman rule, a reign that had lasted for more than 4 centuries. But the winds of change were blowing. As the 20th century dawned, the Ottoman Empire was weakening and the world was on the brink of a great war. Amidst this turmoil, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917. This document expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, a move that significantly boosted the Zionist movement. However, the situation on the ground was far from simple. The land of Palestine was home to a diverse mix of people, including a significant Arab population. As the British took control of the region after World War I, tensions between the Jewish immigrants and the Arab locals started to rise. Fast forward to the end of World War II, and the landscape had shifted yet again. The horrors of the Holocaust had led to a surge in global sympathy for the Jewish people, and the demand for a Jewish state had grown stronger than ever. With the end of World War II, the stage was set for a new chapter in this ongoing saga. 1948 marked a watershed moment in the Israel-Palestine timeline with the establishment of the State of Israel. This year saw the onset of the First Arab-Israeli War, a conflict that erupted following Israel's declaration of independence. Arab nations, refusing to accept the partition of Palestine, launched an armed intervention. The war ended in 1949 with Israel expanding its territory beyond the UN partition plan, leaving a deep-rooted conflict in its wake. Next, we move to the Suez Crisis in 1956. This was a political and military confrontation between Egypt and a tripartite alliance of Israel, the United Kingdom, and France. The conflict stemmed from Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser's nationalization of the Suez Canal. Israel, along with its allies, invaded Egypt with the aim of regaining Western control of the canal and removing Nasser from power. However, they were forced to withdraw under pressure from the United States and the Soviet Union. This takes us to 1967's Six-Day War. This was a swift and decisive victory for Israel against the combined forces of Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. Israel seized control of the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. The aftermath of this war led to a significant shift in the power dynamics of the Middle East, with Israel emerging as a dominant regional power. Finally, we have the Yom Kippur War of 1973. Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Despite initial setbacks, Israel managed to push back the invading forces, and a ceasefire was eventually reached. However, the war had a profound impact on both sides, leading to a realignment of powers and eventually the Camp David Accords. Throughout these wars, the boundaries shifted, the balance of power teetered, and the lives of those on both sides were irrevocably changed. The wars may have ended, but the struggle for peace was far from over. In the late 20th century, a new form of resistance emerged, known as the Intifadas. These were mass uprisings by Palestinians against the Israeli occupation. The first Intifada erupted in 1987, triggered by a traffic accident that resulted in the death of 4 Palestinians. This sparked widespread protests and violence, leading to a harsh response from the Israeli military. The first Intifada was characterized by stone-throwing protests and strikes, reflecting a grassroots level of Palestinian resistance. The second Intifada, also known as the Al-Aqsa Intifada, began in the year 2000 following the failure of the Camp David summit. Unlike its predecessor, this uprising was marked by a significant increase in violence, with suicide bombings and military operations becoming tragically commonplace. Amid these tumultuous events, there were attempts at peace. The most notable of these was the Oslo Accords, signed in 1993. These accords marked the first direct face-to-face agreement between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. They aimed to achieve a peace treaty based on United Nations Security Council resolutions 242 and 338, and envisioned a two-state solution. However, the peace process was fraught with difficulties. The accords were criticized for their vagueness and failure to address key issues such as the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and the continued expansion of Israeli settlements. The roadmap for peace proposed by the international community in 2003 aimed to resolve these issues, but it too faltered. The disengagement plan proposed by Israel in 2005 saw the withdrawal of Israeli settlers from the Gaza Strip, but it did not halt the expansion of settlements in the West Bank. The peace process has been an arduous journey, fraught with setbacks and disappointments. It has been marked by moments of hope, such as the historic handshake between Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat on the White House lawn, but also by periods of despair and escalating violence. Despite numerous attempts, a lasting solution remains elusive. So, where does this leave us today? And is there a way forward? The most commonly proposed solutions to the Israel-Palestine conflict are the one-state and two-state solutions. The two-state solution advocates for an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, while the one-state solution proposes a single democratic state where all citizens, regardless of ethnicity or religion, have equal rights. Yet both these solutions face considerable challenges and have their share of critics. The key lies in the willingness to compromise and engage in open dialogue, recognizing the legitimate rights and concerns of both sides. Many argue that international involvement is necessary to mediate and facilitate this dialogue. This could take the form of peacekeeping forces, economic aid, or diplomatic pressure. It's worth remembering that any solution requires a commitment to peace, justice, and mutual respect. While the path to peace is fraught with challenges, understanding the history of this conflict is a crucial first step in the journey towards resolution.